There was a fight that was launched. The president staked his own political fortunes on it. It was a fight against illegal mining, galamsey. There is a next step in that fight, which is a lot of the people who were dealt with, who were found to have been dealing with in illegal mining, were brought into a framework that would allow them to do it legally, but under strict supervision and monitoring. It was called the community mining concept. Is it an antidote to galamsey? And that is what we are talking about today. And they introduced this earlier this year, and it's been piloted in parts of the country. We also know that it is expected to assist persons who previously mined illegally to do it legitimately, people like these as well. Now, we know that about 4,500 miners have so far been trained, while some 3,500 have been accredited to participate in this legal mining for those who were part of it. Now, a few facts. We know government took on the fight against illegal mining. As I said, the president staked his own political career on it. This started in 2017 to curb its negative impact on the society after it was discovered that a lot of our rivers were seriously polluted as a result of illegal mining. We also know that there was a ban which lasted for about 2 years, and it was a central plank of the process, ban illegal mining across the country. There was a lot of agitations, but the president stood firm as far as that was concerned. Now, we also know that it generated lots of agitation from small-scale miners who thought the government was depriving them of their livelihoods. This very famous face became the poster girl, so to speak, of the illegal mining business when she was arrested, and a lot of concerns about the way she was treated by the state in terms of prosecutions, because eventually she was later deported. Now, many Ghanaians then expressed displeasure about the particular one, the deportation of Aisha One, after the senior minister justified her deportation, with many accusing government of failing in the fight against galamsey. The central question to ask is, on the back of this fight over the last few years, the president himself has stated that particular decision to deport her was a mistake. But to understand the community mining concept, you need to understand the illegal mining business itself, because it's both are linked. If you are in illegal mining, government says you can't do it, we will stop you. But if we stop you, you cannot just stop them so that they do what? They may become criminals and a burden on society. So let's introduce an alternative livelihood means, and a very creative one is the community mining. But the fundamental question is this concept the antidote? If we legalize and regularize and get them to do it sustainably, responsibly, will this stop the few from pursuing the illegal avenues? And how do we monitor and measure that people stay within the law in doing mining in our communities? We'll be interrogating this, beginning to understand what this all is about here on PM Express. Stay with us. On the show tonight is Dr. Nadede Tego. She's a project coordinator, Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. Also with me tonight is Kenna Shigbe. He's a convener, Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. We'll also be joined by Enes Owusu-Ansah, the chairman, National Association of Small-Scale Miners. They are a key stakeholder in this process. We thought once you've understood what it is about, how all these stakeholders and partners could come together to make this work. Let me start with you, Dr. Nadede Tego. What is the community mining concept?
Okay, thank you very much, and good evening to all, including all the viewers. First of all, I would like to look at what is the problem and then how the community mining comes in. So the problem, the major cause of illegal mining is that there are no mineable lands, and so people who wanted to mine in a legal way could not find lands, and that's brought, like, they still want to do it, and so eventually they would mine illegally. There's also issue of bureaucracy within the system, and so even when they are making an application, it takes so long and it's very frustrating. And so again, you find illegal mining prevailing. So that is the problem at stake. Now, community mining is just small-scale mining, and with a few innovations that will tackle our problems that we've had. One, the first thing we are looking at is the mineable lands. With the concept of the community mining, we are given, first of all, the Minerals Commission has blocked out areas specifically for community mining. So we have blocked out areas. These areas, I will say, we cannot say that every part of it, we are sure that there's gold. And so we are doing geological mapping, that's prospecting, to check if there's something there. But already the blocked out areas, these are places that they know that there's something. And then they are still looking for land, and then they will block it out for community mining. We also have large-scale mining companies who are ready to cede off some of their concession. And in the case of small-scale mining, in the past, maybe one person will apply for a license, and he has a license. Because we don't have so much, why don't we form a group? So that instead of giving the license to just one person, we have so many people, one license, because the lands it's not available. So if we have to do it, then we have to find a different approach. And with the large-scale companies, the advantage here is that these miners, if they don't find any place, they actually are going to mine on their lands. So some of them are willing to give us land for this community mining. And the community mining, again, is like, it's a government program, and it's an intervention program to formalize the small-scale mining industry. And we are formalizing it, ensuring that there's sustainability and inclusivity. And especially inclusivity, I want to talk about everybody within the life cycle or within the value chain. Anyone who matters within the value chain of the mining industry is on board. So no one is left behind. And leaving no one behind, we are talking about the marginalized. We are talking about our women. We are saying the children are out of mining. We are not going to, no child will be on board. So if you're not 18 years and above, the law does not permit you to mine. Now, women, we are going to look at how we are going to make them comfortable. We will make it a comfortable working place. And then the marginalized, these mine workers, these people who risk their life so much, but then at the end of the day, they take home so little. And so you find out that someone has mined the entire life, but there's nothing to show for. So that is the idea of the community mining.
What is the role in all this for former illegal miners? Because this whole thing is coming out of the fight against illegal mining, correct? This is, so what is, in which part of this mechanism accommodates those you displaced or the fight against illegal mining displaced in the past? The formal people have not been displaced. Okay. They have, if you're a formal person, you have your concession. And so you are... I'm talking about illegal miners. So they are not formal. The galamsey guys These are the informal people that we are trying to formalize. Okay. They are informal, they are working, they have no social security, no one really knows where they are. They just get up anywhere in the forest, anywhere, and mine. So now, these were the galamseyers? They're galamsey, illegal miners. Oh, illegal miners, okay. Yeah, so these illegal miners are the informal people that government is trying to bring the concept of the community mining to formalize them in a sustainable and an inclusive manner. Okay, what does that mean, sustainable and inclusive manner? So we're looking at sustainability. If we talk about sustainability, we are looking at economic sustainability. Once people work, there should be something to show. And so in the past, if you were in small-scale mining, you decide on what you want to give to your workers. With the community mining, there's an oversight committee. And so you tell us exactly how you are going to handle them. So it's more or less a proposal that comes out. This is what I'm going to give them. And we are already piloting it. So we piloted with some projections already. And we are hoping that as we correct ourselves, and after the pilot is over, anyone who wants to set up anything like this community mining has to go above what we've done or on the same level. And so we are looking at structuring how the percentages, how much the miner gets, so the miner is not cheated. Okay. How are we making sure that these people who are going to get the concessions and work on it former illegal miners have the skills to do. Because when I asked a question about sustainability, I was also hoping to hear, for example, environmental sustainability, which is a key thing. Mining responsibly such that our river bodies aren't destroyed, which was really the concern about illegal mining in the past. How are you going to make sure these people actually comply with these strict rules within the law? Okay,
so as I was saying, looking at sustainability, we're also talking about environmental sustainability. We're looking at people mining and reclaiming the lands. And so these places that we are talking about, if you look at the structure in terms of shares, whatever outcome revenues that are going to come out, there's something already for reclamation.
Will they be trained?
They have been trained already. These people that we are looking for, so already about 4,500 people have been trained. So many more will be trained. And now we are looking also at the trainers. So we have trainers and they will train other people. And so these people have been trained in sustainable mining and mineral processing methods. They've been taught how to discharge their water bodies. They cannot discharge their water bodies, their tailings into our water bodies. And so we are there's so much people who have been trained. After training them, where are you sending them? So that's where the community mining. So we're looking at pushing all the trainees, including other people who are interested in mining but are yet to be trained. And so we are ensuring that in every mine there should be at least one person who has been trained, so that at least you have people to learn from. And these are miners in our various communities. So we have over 4,500 people who have been trained, and in the coming months there'll be more training of miners.
Okay. Yeah. Is there a policy document on this that could help with the process of knowing what it is?
There is a document on it. Currently it's gone back and forth from agency to agency, and we're looking that by next week it should be out, technically out for review. So it's still going to be a draft. Some months ago, I think 2 months ago, the Ghana National Small Scalers Association, they have a copy, at least the PRO has a copy, and they brought their inputs. The Minerals Commission already met them, and so all those input at the meetings they had with them. We've had some other meetings. We've factored it all in. So the public, maybe to the public, general public, by next week we should have our first draft out. But we have a document here with me.
What's your now they've explained a bit of what it is, what's your take on what the community mining is seeking to do?
I think the community mining is definitely a critical solution, part of the solution to this menace of small-scale mining, and it's been spoken about from the beginning. You know, it's one of the, if you look into the MMIP document, what's in there, in terms of all engagements that we've spoken about, it's one of the things that had come out, because you have people who are in a particular place that all they know is mining, you know, and they don't want to do anything else. So for those people, if you bring alternative livelihoods, it will really mean very little to them. What they want to do is to mine. So what are the opportunities that you would give, you know, for mining? For me, some of the critical things you also look at is this whole discrepancy between Obuasi and then Johannesburg. Everywhere you go, all the mining communities we've gone through. I've done all the whole country, most of the major mining districts. And you look at the places where, you know, supposed illegal mining was happening, even places where large-scale mining is happening, is happening there. So for me, I'm hoping that with community mining that is coming, not only are you talking about the miners also being able to benefit from it, you're hoping that the community mining would also benefit the landowners. You want to make sure that the community that is in there, that's part of whatever returns that is coming out of community mining, going back into the community. So you want to see some development. You want to see the environment and all of that. So I think the concept itself is great. My only worry has been the policy document. So, but I hear the doc talking about they're doing a pilot. So you see, in engineering, you can either create a plan and then want to do it, or you do a plan, and out of that you'll be able to get the policy done. But, you know, so if the policy is in the work, that's great. But it's important that critical stakeholders in this particular fight be carried along. I have said it in every time I talk to the Interministerial Committee. The media has not been carried along in this. You know what I mean?
In fact, I must confess, this is the reason why I said to my producers, why don't you look at this? Because it's the fight against galamsey for 2 years was the biggest thing on radio, and the president publicly staked his political career on there. And then this is an offshoot from there. This leads me to my next question. The biggest concern some have had with community mining is the fear that it is another form, it's another form of now legitimizing illegal in quotes, but it's legal, but it's because the fear of monitoring failure. That might, then you want to create something good, but because of the lack of proper monitoring structures, it might create a scenario where environment is still under threat. It creates a scenario where water bodies are still under threat through community mining. Is that a fear that you share?
Not really. If, you know, the conversations that we've had, if really that's what has been implemented. But unfortunately, I don't know, because it's under pilot. I'm not too sure what's happening. But the hope and some of the conversation was that because you're going to do community mining, you have a lot of technical people, you have a lot of engineers that you then be able to bring to these community mines, so that, you know, they would be able to supervise what is going on there. You know, Doc talked about the fact of the whole prospecting. So not only would you bring engineers, geological engineers, and so who do the prospecting, but even the mining engineers who would also be able to supervise what is going on, so that when they are doing all of this, all the requirements that you have of a large scale mine, where they need to make sure that the KPIs that they are meeting, you have to make sure that is in there, so that they are mining sustainably, they are mining taking the environment into consideration. The issue about water bodies, mining close to water bodies, does not come at all, because if they will go by the laws, that definitely will be dealt with. You also would want to ensure that, as you said, the waste, the tailings that is coming from there, but that will take some very strict monitoring and enforcement. Well, that's what, so you're hoping that if you saw the document, you saw, you know, so you know who is responsible for that. You know what reportage is done. I think one of the challenges around this whole fight that we've been doing is that we need to be a lot more transparent. We need to involve the general public. There should be a site that I should be able to go to if I'm living in a community, Matson Kwanta, and let's say there's a community mine, I should be able to go and see what is going on there. I think another critical factor that would also come in is that who can apply for these community mines. Which is a question I was coming to. I think it's a critical part, because if you're not too careful, one of the challenges that have been involved in this whole mining thing from all government is the fact that, you know, you find the political actors really involved in it. So you want to be sure that this is not just going to be another issue where the party in power, it's only their people who can engage in this, and tomorrow another government comes, then it's their people again. Then your whole issue of sustainability will not even work. So that's why it's important that it's a document that clearly spells out what the eligibility criteria is, and it's so transparent, so that you know that if myself and you, we apply, I qualify because of factors A, B, C, and D. You don't qualify because of factors A, B, and D. And what our political coloring should be, you know, really should not matter once you qualify for it. But the only way this will be able to happen is that if we carry everybody along and we make this as transparent as possible, get the media involved, get all the, so as you talk about monitoring and evaluation, the only way you'll be able to do that is also to get a second eye. But most of the time, we're still at the time where we used to be before, where it was very bureaucratic and it was only just the bodies that, you know, had to, so the Minerals Commission and all of those, now it's been replaced with the Interministerial Committee, under which the other bodies were. But you need citizens' involvement in it, so that everybody knows exactly what is going on. And then you'll be able to win the hearts and minds of the whole of Ghanaians to be able to make this happen. Without the media, this thing could not happen. But what has happened is that currently as we speak, you, the media, you don't even know what's going on. Yeah, hopefully we'll get some, at the end of this, you know, get to a point where we understand it, that we can assist Doc and Co. with the monitoring. Can you address that for me quickly? I guess is a concern you have, if you know where we come from 2017 when we started fighting this, how do we ensure that this particular next step doesn't lead us back to the problem?
Okay, thank you. Like Ken said, if the right steps are followed, then we don't have them on the water bodies. Before you give out a concession, you would have to take a site plan. And when you take a site plan to the Minerals Commission, they have rules. They have the buffer zone. They will not give any permits that are close to the water bodies. And so people you find on our water bodies, just at the banks, are illegal miners. And so from the word go, they are not legal. Any concession that is legal won't be found there. And so if we don't want to find them there, and it's an issue of monitoring. Now, people are hungry, they want to work, they have made up their minds to work, they don't want an alternative. Some do, and we've put a lot of people, over 1,005 people in alternatives. There are others that won't accept anything. They are very daring, they still want to mine. And so if they have to mine, they have to mine sustainably. And so that is where the community mining, as we are saying, comes in. And the community miner, as I introduced, I said it's inclusive. We are not leaving anyone behind. We're looking at mining, our chiefs are part of it, our traditional leaders. They are part of this mining. Before you go there, you need to go and see them. So we are getting them on board from the onset. And in terms of how do people benefit, we have something like the mine workers and the mineral rights holder. We have a district committee on illegal mining and an oversight committee. And so with the district committee on illegal mining, is in every district, there's one district committee on illegal mining. So they are the top level on the district side.
So this is the community mining structure you're giving us?
Yes.
Okay.
So they are on the top level when you get to a district. Now, should there be like 3 community mines in your district, then we have 3 oversight responsibility. People who are like a group of people who take responsibility and ensure that...
Who are these people?
I'll talk about the concession.
Okay, sure.
So it's a similar concession to the district mining committees. And so they will ensure that there's no illegal mining. Whilst the district's committee is to ensure that within the district there's no illegal mining, the oversight committee will only check within that particular concession. And the structure has been like the district, the chief executive as the head of the committee. We have a representative from EPA, that's Environmental Protection Agency, from the Minerals Commission. We have a representative from Water Commission. We have the security services, and then other co-opted members.
Okay.
That will help. And so we have, then as part of them, we have our mine inspectors. And these mine inspectors are experienced miners.
From the Minerals Commission?
No. Some of them are retired people, going to be retired people from large-scale mines. Some are also experienced miners, small-scale miners. We have people who have mined over 20 years. So our inspectors, some of them are going to be part of the inspectors. So basically we have mine inspectors. And then I talked about other co-opted members. So depending on where you are, at Wasai Propon, I know that they have a NADMO rep on it. So you have about 3 spaces where, as and when the district decides on who they think should be on their board, will be there.
Okay. The concessions.
Yes.
Whose job is to get a concession? Government's job?
No.
Explain that
for the piloting, government has taken initiative to assist, but anyone can apply, or any group of people can apply to do the community mine.
Who identifies, because from what I was reading, the approach from what Kojo Nkrumah announced, Information Minister, the plan was to get 50 concessions by October. These concessions, is it something the government demarcates and said, this is a zone, apply to get it? Or if I want to, I say, I found a place in whatever, and I think I want to apply for a concession there. How does the process work?
So what the minister said about the 50 is different from what you are saying, how do you apply?
Okay.
In piloting, one takes a lead. But in applying, then we are looking at a company, a limited liability company, a cooperative, partnership. And then they bring in their proposal. And so we have started something, and there's already a model. And that model is what is on the paper. That's the basis for discussion.
Who identifies a concession?
So I'll talk about that.
Okay.
So that is the basis for discussion. We have a model, and you follow the model. So as we talk, I'll talk about a few things that goes in. In identifying the concession, anyone can identify a concession.
Okay.
Already, Minerals Commission took the lead with that. They identified concessions, and I told you about the blocked out area.
Yes.
So they say these areas, anyone who is interested should go within these areas. I've blocked out these areas for community mining. you can look for concessions there. So with the pilots, we have a mapping team. And so let me talk first about Obuasi. Anglo Gold Ashanti has shared off an area, and a portion will be used for the community mining. And so in the past, anybody could bring any map from anywhere and then sends it to Minerals Commission. And in between the time it leaves from Minerals Commission to EPA, the size of the concession might have changed. Because miners will, you know, we are not here to apportion blame, but we are running a new system. We talked about bureaucracy. And so we bring in the whole idea of galamsey. We have a software. And so when the application is made, the map is uploaded, and that map is the only map that is going to be used. That map is visible to all the agencies. And so once you upload it in the application, though at the first stage, it's active to Minerals Commission for them to work. And then once you make an application, all agencies are alerted so that they all make preparations to start.
The process.
We want to stay within the life cycle. They said the law says that we should get it for them within 3 months. And so we are making it as transparent as possible.
Okay.
So that's more of it. But what Kojo Oponkroma talked about the 50, well, we are looking at least 50 to start the piloting. When we say a small-scale mine, it's limited to, in terms of size, to 25 acres. So a place like Akrofom is a very large area. It's within Obuasi. So we have about 5 concessions that we are going to start.
Okay, so that's what I mean. So this, so the 50, this is the government allotted areas that people can apply.
It's not just government. Some of the small-scale miners identified.
Okay.
So it's all part of it. And then these are areas that large-scale companies have said that we want to seed it off for this program.
Who can apply for a concession? Anybody?
Anyone with mining background.
With a mining background?
Yes. Most of the people who apply, I think, are entrepreneurs. But then we've put in a few clauses that the person, there will be a place you should have got. The Minerals Commission has some courses that you should have done. You should have at least one person should have done the sustainable mining course. And it's a group of people. And with the community mining, we have a chunk of people who have done the training. And so there's a pool to employ from.
Okay.
Yeah, within a district.
So is it restricted to those who've already trained?
No.
Anybody else who has the background in mining can show that, can apply. Now, the next big question, and this is a lesson from the fight against illegal mining. What we noticed was a lot of the people who were getting the concessions legally were fronts for foreigners, Chinese nationals, and people who simply had no interest in doing this legitimately, that they had the muscle. So I've been trained, somebody's backing me, but you don't know the person, I came and applied. What is the approach to deal with that? Because that was a big part of the problem.
Thank you. It's indeed a very big problem, but one thing you should know, I'm going to talk about it, but one thing you should know is that, let's say I'm a Ghanaian. If someone, a Chinese or any other person gives me money to work with in my room, you will never know it. It's clear from there. But what we know is what we can guard against. And so we have the Oversight Committee. The Oversight Committee will look at financial proposals. They will look at the proposals of the companies. They'll do some background checking. Because to mine, you can't mine with empty hands. It's expensive to mine.
Capital intensive,
it's very capital intensive. And so there's a need, definitely there will be a need to have someone who can assist. Already there are some preparations being put in place, like trying to find plant pool system for equipment, loans from the banks, some other Ghanaians, interventions to assist the miners. But we already recognize that it's capital intensive. And so we said in our document that at the minimum we should have about at least 200,000 CDs to start. To start that. Yeah, because you need equipment to, when you get, if it's rock that you are doing, when you get the rocks.
Must you show evidence of having the equipment as well?
No.
Or just the money? It's okay.
Yeah, because, you know, they would buy, some of the equipment can be locally fabricated, so at least you should.
Okay.
And then we are looking at a plant pool. So we've had people bringing in proposals on how they intend to do it. But so far, I don't know that we've not really identified one, because you want to really see about how consistent the people, and so people come in day in, day out to make presentations on how they can also assist.
Okay, yeah. Ken, I'll come to you on that question about dealing with the fronts, because we know that has been a big challenge with the problem with illegal mining. But I quickly want to bring in the Small Scale Miners Association on this very quickly, and who joining us is Ernest Owusu-Ansah. Is the chairman of the National Association of Small Scale Miners, the Greater Accra branch. Ernest, what's your reaction to what's the association's own view on this community mining approach that government has launched? And now we've heard a lot about it. What does the association know about this, and what's your position on it?
The association know more information about
we'll rectify that, or we'll come up. But Ken, your reaction to that question I asked you about the fronts?
My challenge, so it looks like the community mining is really not community-based mining. So community mining is a group of people mining. One of the ideas that my suggestions, and I've said it at any of the engagement, is why not do community mining that is owned by the community? Because you see here, we're going to go back again into people fronting for people and bringing them in. But if you got to the situation where it is that for a community mine that is in there, it is owned by the community. So government have to, we need to put systems in place like that communities will be able to come together under their traditional leaders with all the other leaders that are in place to ensure that they own this and they work as cooperatives. So that the landowners, because definitely in Ghana, every land belongs to somebody. It is the mineral resources there that the president holds in trust. So the landowners also then would be able to, if the engineers have been able to find out that this particular area has, they've prospected and it has gold, who is the landowner? He also brings that in as an equity into it. The community also brings, they come in as community, and based on the fact that they are community, they're able to bring resource, they're able to get resources, whether material or financial resources, and be able to bring them in there. The people within the communities who've been trained, the people who will be able to work, also come in there and they also work. So everybody comes in and you have either have equity in it, or based on the output that is going to come, you also are paid. But when we're doing community mining, and it is just another small scale mine that might be owned by some individuals, then you will not cure the issues of community ownership of this particular thing. It would still be a few private people coming to take this thing up, and the marginalization, unfortunately, I think would continue, because we'll continue to be able to front. The Chinese are being arrested, they are still being arrested, they are in the system, they will come and do it. So if I had been engaged in this thing, I would say that our community mining should be community-owned mining. So if, like, for example, in Chame, if there was, we found gold in Chame, it should be the people of Chame who own this particular, with various people who have contributed to it, also benefiting from it. But this one, I don't really see it as community, if that's what Doc is. It is for individuals to be able to go and find concessions and apply for it. I'm not really seeing. Then that's not.
Doc has a response for you, Doc.
I think I was very clear on who can make an application. I said a limited liability, a cooperative, and a partnership. And this limited liability is not just someone who came from somewhere just applying. Once we have the mine, someone will have to pay for the mining rights. There are lots of things that are going to be paid for. They would have to pay tax, so they will have to form a company. And so if you look at our structure, we have the landowner. Most of these places are farmed lands. So we have a portion, like in terms of percentages, what they take. We have something for royalties. Aside that, we have something for the district. And before each community mine will start, for instance, in a district, each district will do a town hall meeting. They would have some meetings and decide on the 5 priority projects that they want to.
But would it be community owned?
It's community owned, but they will form a company. They would have to register it, because Minerals Commission, they would have to pay their fees to them. They would have to pay. So,
well, the clarity that I guess I need is, and when I asked, so who can apply? I think you said Anybody. So that's why.
Look, anybody within the community.
Anybody within the community.
Yes.
So what you're saying that if you're not from Wassa, for example, where I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying that Wassa, for example, Wassa Kropon, and the community mining concession is there. If you're not from there, you cannot apply to.
You can, but not in isolation. You are doing it with them.
Okay.
Any Ghanaian, because if you limit, like for instance, you could have a place where there are more mineable lands.
But the community won't have what it takes to do.
Yes,
okay.
And so we are all Ghanaians. But first of all, it's them. So if you look at how we even started it, the first step that we took is that we said all people should register within their districts. And so when we are pulling the workers, we're pulling it out from the districts.
Okay.
First.
Well, hold on for me briefly. I want to go back to Ernest on the other line there who joined us. And let's see if we can hear him now. Hello, Ernest.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Ernest?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, I'm struggling to hear you. But what is your own view on this?
On view on that, on the community money is that the problem we are facing our district and our mining sector is that the miners, those people, they don't understand the difference between the small scale mining and the community mining. So what the government should do is that you should educate them. They should give them more information about training. They should get more information about the community mining, because when they have all the information about the community mining, it's going to help. It's going to help our society. It's a good thing that the government has brought to our community.
So the Small Scale Miners Association, you endorse this, correct?
Hello?
You endorse the government approach?
Yeah. I endorse it.
Okay.
I endorse it because it's a very good thing that is going to give more opportunities to our illegal miners in our society, especially in our district level. So it's going to help them that.
Tell me about what the explanations that we've heard tonight on how this works. I know for a while the small scale mining was part of that which was banned. Now that we are moving to the next phase of this particular solution, to what extent is the small scale miners engaged in this particular process? Have you been engaged? Do you understand what this is? And will your association be participating in the acquisition of concessions and the applications as well to participate in the small scale in the community mining concept?
Okay, initial stage, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for the association for them to accept their community mining. So, but now they have understand and they are getting more information about it. So now we are also giving information to our people for them to get to know more information about the community mining.
Okay, so you're now doing education. You're now informing your association members about this to learn about community mining.
Yeah. We are now informing them. We are teaching them how they are going to get the concessions, the blockout areas, and we the people frontline. We are also helping the people for them to understand it, and we teach them how they are going to get the concession. Okay.
And in terms of the applying this in the communities, government says that there's a pilot. Are you participating in that pilot already?
We are participating in it, but it's not easy.
When you say it's not easy, what does it? What do you mean by that?
It's not easy because sometimes when it goes to the alluvial land has already been taken from the large scale. The large scale already has taken all the land, and the small scale is finished, and we don't have much. So if you want to apply for a mining licenses or those documents, it's going to be more difficult for you to do it. Are you getting it? So this is what the problems that we are facing. They need to talk to the last case owners so that we can get more portions for the land so that we can do the block out areas and give it to our members.
Okay.
For them to work.
You said block out areas. I mean, are you referring to the concessions under the community mining?
Yeah, the concessions under the community mining. But it's not easy. The land, when you go to maybe Western North area, all the land will be taken from the last case. So unless you do the site plan, you send it to the interministerial, and from the interministerial will write to the Mineral Commission, they will write to the owner, and before it will get back to you, it's going to take a lot of problems, it's going to take a lot of while before you can get the land.
Do you see, from all that you've heard explained tonight, do you see the community mining concept as a solution to the problem that you are just articulating? How difficult it is to get a concession for you to do legal small-scale mining?
Now it's good, but I'll make it 45%. I'll make it 45% because in the mining we must have the small-scale mining. That's what we need to have. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Because of illegal miners that are in the system, there's no job for them. We want to create job for them. That is why we are doing the
community mining.
The community mining.
Okay. So explain this to me. You say we need to have small-scale mining, and maybe I should ask you this. Clarify the two. Okay, so will there still be small-scale miners, or what's the difference between that? Will everybody have to come under the umbrella of the community mining?
Small-scale mining is the same as community mining.
Okay.
The small-scale mining that they had in the past, just me, my concession. Community mining, our concession. That's the difference. In the past, if you needed land on your own, you go looking for it. Now we speaking to the large scale, what he was trying to tell you is that in some areas, all the mineable areas are property of the large scale. So now we are telling them that we want work for our people. Give us some of it. So initially, before you become a full mining company, you will start with reconnaissance license, you will do prospecting. When you do prospecting, now you can seed off some that you do not want. And so some geological investigation would have been done. And so we've been speaking to the large-scale mining companies, and they've been very supportive. I talked about Anglo Gold Ashanti,
who has given part of the company.
Yes.
So explain this to me. So for the small-scale miners who had been there long before the ban, then as he's saying, now that you've introduced community mining, how does the transition happen? My point is, some of these people already had concessions.
Yes.
They were operating small-scale mines. When the ban came, I think they were affected, right? Now that you're moving to this next level of mining, what happens to those who already had small-scale mines?
Okay, so I think it's clear that gold, the resource, it's something that won't be there for, it's depletable. And so if you have a concession, 25 acres, at a point there'll be no gold. Small scale is just you. The lands are not available.
But the guy already had a concession legitimately secured.
You still have it.
Yeah.
You have it. You see, one thing that it should be clear, your license, the license is for a particular area. Just that area. You don't have a license to mine every place.
Okay.
So you only have the license for area A. And when area A is done, you don't have the license again.
True.
And so your license is not valid even within the same town. You cannot change your coordinates.
True.
So it's valid just for that place. But currently, we don't have the lands. And so instead of one person taking that whole 25,
that is the community.
That is the idea.
So for those who were in small-scale mining, who were operating singular concessions, you're saying that they can go and continue, but once it's exhausted, you have to come under the umbrella of the community mining.
No, it's still there. If you find the land,
okay,
it's subject to what you find. It's not available. And so if it's not available, and we are supposed to tell, let's say, Anglo Gold Ashanti to release land, we can't give it to one person.
Okay, so I understand that. So that is a community mining.
Yes.
So the distinction you're drawing is, it is a collective operation.
Yes.
Where community people come together and say, we want to do this. One person maybe might bankroll it, but it is owned by the collective.
Yes.
That's a difference. Okay, Ken.
You see, I get it that small-scale miners can still go and do their small-scale mining if you want to own a mine. Yeah. The only thing is that you need to find the land, you need to then go by the rules that currently are given, and then there'll be the community one. My only worry with the community one is that it has to be community owned.
How do you define that?
So
because she's explained that this is what they are running now. The communities own it.
You see that when the community own it, you know, so the communities would own either the company, the communities will own the cooperative. But then the ownership, when you go and look at who has registered it, who owns it, it should be owned by the community. So we don't want the situation where you say one person bank rolls.
So what you're saying is that in terms of the application for the concession, and when the license is given, it should be given to
a community.
Okay.
And so we don't want one person bank rolling it. So that to the extent that we know that you need, say, 1 million cedis to be able to run a mine. So the community should be based on the fact that they have this resource, be able to use that to even bring the banks in. There should be provision for they to be able to get how do you call it, equipment. Because bear in mind that in this particular one, the risk has been diminished because there's been some prospecting that should be done. So as the state has invested in prospecting. So when you say the ownership, part of the money should even be going back to the state to do they should to pay for the prospecting that had been done for you already. Part of the money should be going to the districts. So the district should also be contributing something to it. So if the state is, if you are saying that the state should be bringing in the people who are prospecting, if you have, so you have community schools and all of that, they should also be able to take shares in this. So you make it in such a way that whether it's a cooperative or it's a limited liability, it is community owned to the extent that no one person. So because it's community owned, you can't go and bring a Chinese man to come and bankroll it, and at the end of the day, they take all the money, and then we are left with nothing. You do it in such a way that we own everything.
Your fear is that the way it's been run now, the Chinese will so control.
You see, because the way it's done.
Because if you have money,
if one person can bankroll it, then trust me, the way Ghanaians we've done our things. Even the fishing trawlers that are sitting there, the Ghanaians. So we know our people, we know our challenge. One of the things is that we are not truthful to ourselves as citizens. We let these things happen. So let's put a foolproof system in place such that it's the community that owns it. And if the community should own it, everything should be transparent. If I am in the community and I don't work in there, I don't benefit from what they get as workers. But the development that comes into the community, I benefit because I am from that community.
Give me a second. Let me go back to Ernest. Ernest, do you own a concession yourself as a small scale? I'm assuming you're a small scale miner.
Yeah.
You are?
I have a concession.
You have a concession?
Yeah, I have a concession.
Are you so... were you affected by the ban?
Yeah, I was affected by the ban.
Okay. This concession still exists, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it still have gold ores buried in the ground? Do you still believe that it's rich in gold, that concession?
Yeah. It's rich in gold.
Okay, so are you still mining now?
Yeah, I'm still mining now.
You're still mining?
Yeah, I'm still mining.
Okay. And your concession is legitimately been given to you by the Minerals Commission?
Yeah, I've passed through all the process. The process, I'm just going to the vetting, and is that Dr. Na is the one that just give me all the information, so you can ask him, Dr. Na.
It's passed through the process, and he has it.
Yeah, passed through all the process.
So now that you've passed the process, now that you're making the transition to community mining, I'm just curious to know from what you know so far, what happens to your concession? You're just simply going to go ahead as business as usual, or
I will mine. As because I have a legal document for me to do it. So I'll start mining for my own concessions. And then I will give the community mining to those people that don't have the concessions and the illegal minings. So I have to help them for them to have it. Okay. So that they can mine and can have some money and take care of their family.
Okay. What's your reaction to that?
Okay, so what I heard him say, you asked whether he will still be mining. Yeah, he has his concession. Yeah. He's going to mine. His is an ordinary one. It belongs to him. Once you have the tag community mine, it does not belong to you.
Okay.
You do not have the full right.
So these individual mines will operate side by side.
Yes.
Your community mining.
Yes.
Concept.
So you remember I said on the
Yes.
the level at the district, we have the district committee.
Yeah.
The district committee is to ensure that there's no mining within the district. So it includes to ensure that they don't go to the water bodies. They are not in our forests. To check the small-scale miners, that we don't have new mines cropping up. And then we have the oversight committees. These are, it's like community mining oversight committees, specifically for this community mine. And so if you come in, we have this concession. You remember I said that how you got your money, like the people, how you got the money, I'll talk about that again. I might not know, but once it is called community mining, you can't change it to an individual license.
Okay.
It belongs to all of us.
Okay.
And everybody will contribute. There's someone who will contribute by paying the fees. Everybody has a
And there's
role.
a verification process for this?
Yes.
Okay.
The chiefs will give land. They are the allodial owners. That is their contribution.
I've seen some of the regional ministers asking chiefs to give land for this
yes.
particular project.
So the allodial owners are given land.
Okay.
A farmer has agreed that, okay, I'm farming here, but let's mine there. He's part of it. The community, they have registered there. So if we have, let's say, 1,000 people in Obuasi who have registered, or 3,000, I won't bring someone from Amansia West to start working whilst the Obuasi people. But if they don't exist, what do you do? Then other neighboring people can come in. And so once it is named community mining, it means you took some advantages already. One, we did some mapping for you. The state mapped the concession.
The geological study.
That's the first you see. You need to map the boundaries. You need to know the major problem in mining is people mining beyond their concession limit. In the past, we had surveyors who sit in the room and just demarcate.
Without going to the ground.
Without going to the ground.
This time you're doing that.
The law says we should put pillars there. We've put the pillars down there.
Okay.
So you have no excuse to say you don't know where the land. And after that, the map is already in our possession. It's going to be uploaded.
And you monitor that you're sticking to that particular concession.
Those concession boundaries are going to be uploaded in the galamsey. So it's like Google Maps, you knowing where you are relative to the boundary.
And then there's somebody who can read this and then make sure you're playing within this.
No, you will do it. And also at each of the boundaries, there's going to be a signboard. The size of the concession is there, how the concession looks. At every turning point of the concession, we have the coordinates and also the Ghana Post.
Quick questions. What is in it for us? The government seems to be doing a lot. I mean, geological mapping, the place, etc. What is in it for us in terms of the state? Yes, the state.
Okay. And so, as part of
are they going to pay taxes?
Yes.
I need to know this.
Okay, so as part of the registration process, if you looked at what we did for the vetting, most of them didn't have TIN numbers. We've ensured that every legal small-scale miner, we know your TIN number. And for that reason, you are going to pay tax. Now, as these people are also registering, we are taking TIN numbers. And so we, even at some of the district, they ensure that the GRE guys were already there, like we did for vetting. We would ensure that you have your TIN number. And so already we have the basic information. At first, if they will pay tax, where are you going to find them? We didn't even know where they were.
Next big question. To properly ensure they're paying appropriate taxes, we need to know how much they're producing, who they're selling to. One of the biggest problems we found, again in the past, is that countries are buying huge volumes of gold from us that it didn't pass through proper channels. What is the strategy to make sure that that is blocked? So we know how much you're producing on this concession, who is buying it, we're taking the appropriate taxes for it, and none is being smuggled out.
Okay. The community mining thing is going to be a controlled system. So we're looking at the entire value chain, from when they start mining to when they have the gold and the buying. We are going to ensure that it's only the registered gold buyers and Ghanaian, because the small-scale industry is only an industry for Ghanaians. We are not going to have Indian buyers. We have a mine, we know those who are the officials. So from the beginning, when you start mining, you tell us how much you mine. When it moves into the processing environment, they know how much. So it has to tally between what the miner said and as it moved into the processing site, you have the rocks, you would have to now wash, make sure you get it. So the amount that has been received or what you gave out, we'll see what was received. It will have to tally.
Okay.
And then the gold sale. And so within the community mining up to the end of the sale. We know the value, how much this particular community mine made.
Has produced. Ken,
yes.
Is this a solution to illegal?
Well, I think it's
mining?
one of the solutions. It's a critical part of the solution to illegal mining. I'm hoping that we'll be able to move from the pilot, be able to develop a policy and get legislation backing through. You don't want a situation where there's a change in government, then, you know, this whole thing goes away. Because for me, I think the community mining is critical because it gives power back to the communities. It makes sure that you're creating wealth and the wealth is going back. I hope that when they're looking at the value chain, they go to a point where we are even going to adding value to it. So we get the times where the goldsmiths, you know, in our communities are all part of this, so that we make it in such a way that we fully benefit from the thing. But I think what has to happen is that there should be a lot more transparency in this whole process, so that when everything is going on, I should be, because I am part of the community, I am in that particular community, I have ownership. And you see, we're talking about ownership, not workers. Workers can come in and come and work. Once we own it, we can bring people in to come and work. But I should have, to be able to have control, I should see what is going on in there. So we don't have capture. We don't have the rich people being able to capture it. I would insist that we run this thing in such a way that we make sure that the community owns it and they control it. So that if you are even bringing a factor of production, which would be finance, when you bring it in, the people in the community know that this is what you brought in. So based on that, this is what you are taking. But when it comes to taking decisions, the people actually know it. Because some of these things have happened in the past, where people are supposed to go to the communities and tell us where they are going. They know, they pretend that they go and do it. They don't want to do. But now it should be very open. Galamsey, can I have access to it? You know, to be able to see.
We cannot have access to that?
Yes.
Okay,
You know, so
Some
those are the
aspects
things.
of it.
Some aspect. Okay, so, but you believe it's a solution?
No, it's
not the solution.
It's an important, it's one of the important solutions, but it has to be done well. One of the things we've done in this country.
There's always a difference between the policy and an implementation. Thank you. We just ran out of time on this, that you came to explain this. Dr. Nadi Litego, Project Coordinator, Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Ken Ashigbe, Convener Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, and you had Ernesto Usu and Sander, who is a chairman of the National Association of Small Scale Miners. My name is Evans Mensah. Enjoy the rest of your evening.